Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Lexus IS 200 SE, registered GV53AFO, and mileage at the start of the road test is 85,458 miles. The reason we do these videos is essentially so that anyone that's actually looking at this car online in an advert actually gets to see that very car in operation. It is, however, rarer for me to do videos on what we refer to as kind of the part exchange cars, the trade cars, which come in. But now and again we get one in which is just so nice to drive that I just think it merits it, in all honesty. And I've always had a soft spot for these particular cars. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful car in its kind of heyday, and actually currently having driven it. So that's why I'm going to do it. The car starts absolutely instantly, settles absolutely smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car. And I'll come to the temperature gauge in a second once the car's had time to warm up later in the test drive itself. The engines are just lovely, lovely unit. Straight six. It's got that kind of turbine feel to it when you accelerate and pull away. So smooth and silky in operation. It's just a lovely, lovely engine in every single way, and pulls exactly as I remember them. Just a really fabulous engine. Engine then feeds through clutch and into gearbox. Clutch in the car absolutely perfect, smooth, positive in actuation. Bite point is exactly where it should be. And possibly my favourite part of this drivetrain is this brilliant 6-speed gearbox. I'm not quite sure how Lexus achieved to make the one in the 250. By comparison, it's nowhere near as good as this in terms of the way it feels. It's still a nice enough gearbox, but this is just got a lovely mechanical feel to it. It's light, it's quick, it's positive. It's just almost perfect in every single way. There's very few gearboxes I've ever driven which feel as nice to use day in, day out, because it has that, you can almost feel the gears sort of meshing. It's got that wonderfully precise action to it. It is just fantastic, and if you push on, it responds beautifully because it's just so quick to change gear. And let's say it makes the later 250s feel ponderous by comparison. And I can feel absolutely no wear in the linkage at all. It feels absolutely perfect. Steering on the car tracks absolutely bullet straight. There's no vibrations coming back through the steering wheel at this speed or any speed up to the legal limit. And it's a lovely power steering system as well, because it's got a really lovely weighting to it. Obviously helps being rear wheel drive because you've got nothing to kind of pollute the steering, but it feels really crisp and taut in hand as well. It certainly doesn't feel like a car that's 16 years old now. You can just see why they're so loved and still sought after on the used market, because it feels like I'm driving a very, very modern car indeed. And likewise with the chassis, it's quick to respond, it's nice and neutral, it corners really nicely damped as well in terms of kind of the chassis, and it's extraordinarily comfortable. It's it's an object lesson to many modern cars which so say have progressed into how to do a really accomplished chassis. It's brilliant. It also, what I'm looking for on these road tests to be critical is any kind of chatterings when it hits a bump. You normally expect an older car to just pick up a few little issues. There's nothing on it at all. It just drives sensationally well. It's going to spin around here because we've got some traffic lights further ahead and I don't want to get caught in those. And so the video is relatively short this morning, but it's just, as I said, to show it in operation. I'll give the brakes a bit of a thump in a second as well. I probably should have done it when I came to a stop there, but there we go. Right, so I'm just going to hold things down and give them a little bit of a shove. Check them earlier, they're absolutely perfect, so we'll be able to give them a nice hard shove there. Really solid brake pedal on the car, nice and powerful. Pulls the car up straight and true, doesn't no pulsing or vibrations coming back through the brake pedal either, so all good in that respect. Looking around inside the car, I mean, this is why Lexus are perceived as the very highest quality of all the car manufacturers in terms of build quality, but also reliability. I mean, the interior feels like new. I mean, there's not even a murmur from the interior. There's no noise in terms of kind of creaks or groans or anything at all. It's absolutely amazing. It's also just a lovely place to sit. It's quite intimate in here, which I really like. But this dash design, very much of its era, but no worse for that in my eyes. All seems to work absolutely beautifully. The chap had his CDs in there. That was working perfectly. Heated seats work exactly as they should as well. Then you've got this wonderful dash design. It's almost like a clock face look. Quite intricate, but beautifully done. It really is fantastically detailed. Temperature gauge now running at just under half, which is pretty much exactly where it should be on one of these cars. As I said, no warning lights in operation at all. As I said, the point of video is actually to be quite critical of the car. I can't criticise the car in terms of the way it drives at all. And we used to sell these in relatively large numbers, probably 10 years ago or so, before we moved on to the 250s. So it's rare for me to sort of have access to one of them again. But this drives exactly as even the finest examples did back then. It just doesn't seem to have aged at all. It's absolutely amazing in here. As always, though, with all of our videos, if you've got any questions about the car, please don't hesitate to give us a call, and we'll so happily answer any questions you might have.